Hey everybody, how are you doing? We're so glad that you have joined us for Vespers this evening. I'm in a different spot than I normally am. Usually I'm right up over there, so if you hear any booming thunder from above, you know that somebody has gotten up off the couch. But So we're so glad that you have joined us this evening so that we can have Vespers together. We're going to begin like we do every evening, lighting this candle and celebrating the presence of Christ who is in us, among us, and beyond us. And remembering this evening everyone in our community of faith and those beyond who are suffering. Jake and I were talking this morning, and he was talking about this crazy weather that we've been having. Monday, we had thunderstorms, which you may hear in just a little bit during our interview, as I was interviewing Susanna and Lauren on Monday. Some crazy thunder that came through. Yesterday, it was warm enough that we dried off the trampoline outside, and we got to bounce a little bit in the afternoon sun. And now I was just out back, and the ground is covered in snow. And I know, welcome to Kentucky. But no matter how hard we try, we can't really predict what's going to happen, whether we're talking about weather or jobs or government or family or even our own emotions. But when we can look for those bright spots, those moments when the sun peeks through from time to time, we can remember again that we are part of God's family of love. So tonight we get to talk a little bit with some of that family. Susanna French and Lauren James, they were in Lexington for a time and then moved at the end of 2018 to West Hartford, Connecticut, where Susanna is now a librarian at the University of Connecticut School of Law, and Lauren is a writer there. And we were so sad to see them go. And happy for the new chapter in our life, but missed them. And I tell you, one of the bright spots that I've found in the midst of this pandemic is a chance to reconnect with them. Since we had our services online, this was the opportunity for them to join us online, and we've been able to catch up with them in the chat during our services. And now we get the opportunity to talk with them tonight. So let's go and talk with Susanna and Lauren. Hey, Laura and Susanna, how are you doing?
Hi! Good, how are you?
Good! It's so good to see you all.
It's great to see you too.
Oh my goodness, we haven't had a chance to talk like this since you all have moved up to Connecticut. So how are things going there for you all?
I mean, things are good. It's nice. Our neighborhood is really nice, which is good because that's the main place that we've been for the last year.
Right.
We're within walking distance of some things, which is really nice to be able to just like walk and go get takeout or something. Now has been a blessing to just be able to get out and stretch our legs a little bit.
Yeah, we really like our neighborhood. We like the town that we live in is really nice. Like you've got a nice mix of like little quiet suburban streets and parks and things, and then like downtown has a lot of fun things to do and shops and restaurants and stuff that we used to go to a lot, and hopefully we'll go to again soon.
Right. Now remind me, like I think 2020 is just kind of like what happened before 2020. I've forgotten completely. Yeah. So when was it that you all moved to Connecticut?
Towards the end of 2018.
Yeah, it was fall of 2018.
Yeah. Okay, I've lost a year somewhere, I feel like. Because it didn't feel like it was
2020 and before 2020.
Yeah,
I know.
Those are the only years.
Because I was thinking 2018, but then I thought, no. It wasn't that. Okay, yeah, so 2018. Yeah, so you had like a year.
Yeah.
And then
we sort of settled in and we're like, okay, this is what our lives look like now. And then it was like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, but it sounds like there's things going on. Now, tell me, what's the name of the town you all live in?
We live in West Hartford, which is right next to the city of Hartford, but is its own town.
Okay. So, I've got it up on Google Maps right now. Yeah. And so I'm looking to see, since I'm a little bit geographically challenged. I think I'm not.
I always have to specify it because we live on Seymour Avenue in West Hartford, And then Hartford Hospital is on Seymour Street in Hartford. So sometimes we've had packages that got addressed to like Seymour Ave, West Hartford, that have ended up at the hospital. So
I ordered a pizza once, and the delivery guy called me, and he goes, "Okay, I'm at the hospital." I'm like, "Is everything okay?"
That's awesome.
To try to get the pizza here that fast.
Yeah, please be careful. Oh my gosh! Well, I'm glad your pizza delivery person was okay. So that's awesome. Well, so what are so you got some parks and some other things. What are some other things that you found to do in Connecticut before the pandemic happened?
Yeah, well, locally, actually, one of my favorite places is the Mark Twain House, which is in Hartford. So he lived here for a while, and actually, I think he said it was one of his favorite places that he lived. And he was next door neighbors with Harriet Beecher Stowe, and they were really good friends.
What?
Yeah. So both of their houses have been turned into museums. I've only been to the Twain House so far, but it's really, really well done. Like they have a really nice visitor center, and then there's like sort of a passage that you go through to get to the house, and they do guided tours, which are really nice.
And you can get a membership there, and it calls you a Twainiac. Which
yes, well, okay, that's really sad. That's the like 30 and under or something, some sort of age. There's an age cutoff for like younger people to get the membership, and then that's the Twainiac Club. And I have now, as of my last birthday, have aged out of the Twainiac Club.
Oh.
That's tragic.
It will always be Twainiacs at heart.
Yes.
It's worth it for the name alone. It's worth it for the name alone to be called a Twainiac. Yeah.
Yeah, and they even have like a Lego statue of Mark Twain in the lobby there, which is really fun.
And then in the Hartford airport, they have a Lego statue of the Mark Twain house.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's
very committed to
town.
And more committed to Legos as a town than you would expect.
Yeah. So that's fun just here in town. And we also, like, one thing that's really nice about New England is that, you know, with all the states being tiny, you're really close to a lot of different things. So we're only an hour away from the coast. So we like to go, there's a couple of beaches that we like to go to. There's a couple of different little towns on the coast that each have a really nice independent bookstore.
Just go there and do some book shopping, and then they all have ice cream parlors. So get some ice cream and walk up and down the beach looking at the ocean.
So that's kind of our dream day out, is like ice cream, books, and the beach. So that's one thing we like to do a lot. And
we're a lot closer to most of Susanna's family now, which is nice.
That was really nice in 2019.
Yeah.
Right.
and will be nice again soon. So, I've got aunts and uncles and cousins and both of my parents. So it's been really nice just to be closer to people. Over the summer, we took a long weekend up in Vermont. It was very COVID safe. We got an Airbnb with its own kitchen, so we didn't even interact with anyone while we were there. We brought groceries and and our dog, and we just stayed in this little Airbnb, and there were mountains and rivers and things, and it was just really nice and peaceful. And that was only an hour and a half away, so you can get to all these places really quickly. That's a nice thing. We're 2 hours from Boston, 2 hours from New York. So there are a lot of pros about living here.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And so much culture, so much history, so many things that you can go see and do around there. Well, whenever there's not pandemic happening, but that is great. And ice cream and books and the beach sounds pretty awesome. That's the makings for a great day right there. That's amazing. Well, so tell us a little bit about how folks are handling pandemic in your area. Our case numbers, what are those like there? How are things going? Are you all far enough away from New York that you're not getting some of that?
We got some of the kind of spillover from that at the beginning, but I think it's been better managed. So
numbers have been going up after the holidays, kind of like they have been everywhere. I work for the University of Connecticut, and the university itself does their own tracking and stuff. And actually, the university numbers have been pretty stable within the community of so like the state numbers have been up, but at least among like my colleagues and the students and stuff, it has been fairly low, which I'm really thankful for.
And people in every kind of shared area that we've had to go to have all been really good about wearing masks diligently. Like we haven't.
Well, sometimes most people are good. I do find myself feeling very unspiritual sometimes after I come home from the grocery store and I'm like, you can't believe how many people had their masks below their noses.
I know.
I'd say, okay, calm down.
I find myself pretty unspiritual after going to the grocery store pre-pandemic.
Yes.
Just pulling into the parking lot, I was already very unspiritual. Yes. But then, now, the people with them under their nose, I don't understand. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I feel like this might not be something you would think to ask, so I wanted to make sure to say that one of the unexpected things that we most miss about Lexington is Kroger.
Yes.
Really?
We loved Kroger, and we didn't. I feel like we did appreciate it, but there were so many things that we didn't quite appreciate.
And I don't think I realized that I'd be losing it when we moved.
Like, I don't know. They just had like we always went to the Tate's Creek Kroger in Lexington. That was our store, and they always had like literally anything we could think of, and even like the private selection brands of things are really good, and we haven't feel like the stores up here don't necessarily have the equivalents of some of those things.
And for some reason we just seem to find places with a much narrower selection.
So
I will say also I think the restaurants in Lexington are better.
Some of them. There were a lot of really good restaurants
in general. The southern cooking. Yes. You can't really beat.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I didn't want it to seem like we don't miss Lexington, because we definitely do.
People and food.
Yes, people and food are our top things that we miss.
Those are Baptist things to miss too. People. People and food. Well, that's good to know, and I will appreciate Kroger even more now, even though they don't have the flax milk the last 3 times that I've tried to get that I've been looking for. So, but we'll maybe you can send an email to them about that for me, and they'll know.
Yes.
So, that's good. It's good to hear the things that people are, things are kind of staying level where you're at, and that there's some good things about Lexington that maybe we have forgotten about too. So you talked a little bit about jobs and about what's going on. So tell us a little more about work and how that's going.
Well, I work from home anyway. I'm just writing and everything, so there was no adjustment there. I was already like not wearing real pants most of the time before the pandemic. I have a wide selection of yoga pants that have been doing a great job in that department. But it's been really nice having Susanna home. She's still home. Like, she works half a day once a week now in the office, and the rest of the time it's just working from home. And people always talk about it. It gets irritating to have someone around all the time, but we've actually just found it really nice to get to have the extra time together. And I'm just going to miss her a lot when she has to go back to work.
I can miss it too.
Only part of that would be you missing me, though.
So I'm still at the job that we moved here for me to take, which is at the library at the University of Connecticut Law School, which is in Hartford, which has its own campus, which is nice. So I work mostly with like the catalog and electronic resources behind the scenes stuff. So a lot of my work has translated really well to working from home. So I've been going in 1 day a week for just the morning since November. But the rest of the time I've been working full time from home. So that's been good. There was some adjustment. There were a couple of months when I was like bringing tubs of new books home and working on them from here, and then bringing them back once they were done. But now that I'm allowed on campus again, I've been doing most of that stuff there, and then saving everything else to do at home. Right.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad that it was you were able to kind of translate that to home, and makes such a difference to be able to distance and not to have to go in.
We've been very, very fortunate about how the pandemic has affected us personally.
Probably less affected than most people have.
Yeah.
Like, and also, I want to give credit to the state and the university, because they've worked really, really hard to avoid doing any layoffs and things, or pay cuts or anything. Some of the upper level, like the president and some of the deans and things, have been doing furlough days, but actually so far none of the rest of us lower level have had to do even furlough days, which, given how many people are losing their jobs and things, I'm incredibly grateful for.
Yeah.
So I feel like they've really managed as well as they possibly could. So just
very
grateful for that.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Oh, well, that's good. That makes a huge difference. And so Lauren, what about your writing? Can you tell us a little more about that?
So I write kind of mostly like mysteries, romances, and I've started doing just recently a lot of like nonfiction entertainment writing.
Yeah.
So I'm working on an article right now about like most heartbreaking moments in Pixar movies. So I'm gonna make good use of our Disney Plus subscription and like rewatch some Pixar movies and take a careful note of where I cry.
There's so many.
It's kind of funny because that's also been relatively unaffected just because like it's still kind of lighthearted things that people have wanted a lot of lately. And everything. So it's also kind of provided a nice escapism for me to be able to kind of bury myself in trivia or in just kind of like a pleasant storytelling situation.
Yeah.
And everything. So yeah. I mean, it's really great. I didn't do it full time before we moved out here, and it's been really nice.
Oh, that is awesome.
That worked out really nicely. I mean, I think it would have been a lot harder for us to make the move here. If you like, and then this also provided the perfect like opportunity for you to try your hand at writing full time. And so we had this like, okay, we'll try this for a year, and that turned out to be really successful. So.
That is awesome. Well, that is so cool. And I didn't know that you were writing full time now. That is great. It was
really exciting to kind of make and scary to make the transition, but feeling settled in now is a really good feeling.
Oh, that is awesome. And that takes guts too. So I mean, really to go and do that. That is awesome. And that it's going so well. That is so cool. Well, I'm excited. You'll have to let us tell us a little more about what we can read and where we can read it too. And entertainment really, to me, over the time of pandemic has become much more like it buoys the soul. Sometimes we really do. You just need some time to step back from these difficult realities of the world to be reminded there's beauty, there's art, there's even fun trivia to think about is really important right now.
Yeah. We've watched so many movies this last year. That was kind of our big thing in 2020. Just upped our cinematic educations.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so now that you're talking about that, I hadn't even thought about this, but I should be asking you, do you have any recommendations, books, movies, anything like that you all have enjoyed that you think would be good for folks right now? I didn't ask this beforehand.
Well, we finished watching Ted Lasso on Apple TV Plus.
Oh yeah, I've heard good. I have not. I've heard good things about it.
We watched the entire. I think it's 10 episodes. We watched the whole series twice in 4 days.
Yeah, it's very
so heartwarming,
very hopeful and sweet and funny, and like all of that without kind of making things too easy or overly sweet and everything. It was just kind of exactly the right dose of optimism.
It was exactly what we needed, and like
about this American college football coach who gets hired under unusual circumstances to coach like a major British soccer team with like no real experience in the area, and is kind of the fish out of water, but he's like very sweet and earnest, and it was really heartwarming.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so now I'm gonna have to watch that one for sure. I do enjoy watching Jason Sudeikis. He's the lead in there, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
okay,
he is. Yeah. He's like perfect in that role.
And if you're anything like us, you could potentially turn it around in the free trial period, so you wouldn't have to make up your mind.
I know. We're like, well, it's free trial for a week, so I don't know if we'll be able to finish it. And then we were like, keep watching. So Yeah. I'm trying to think of some movies that we've watched. I mean, For All Mankind was pretty uplifting, I felt like.
Yeah, For All Mankind is
it's a kind of unusual documentary about all of the Apollo missions to the moon. So what they did was they like edited together footage from all the different ones, and so it's not done like linearly, like, oh, this is Apollo 11, this is Apollo 12. They just do like, here's footage from a bunch of them as they're getting ready to launch, and then here's footage from a bunch of them as they're like on the moon and stuff.
So it's kind of this like impressionistic, you are there version of like being on these moon missions.
And it's just really fun. They have all this audio from like the astronauts when they were on the moon, and so they're like singing these songs, they're like pretending that they're playing golf, and just seeing them like, okay, these were like real human people who were doing this incredible thing, but they're just like us, like having these silly jokes and things. It was really kind of awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Now, what was the name of that one again?
That's called For All Mankind.
For All Mankind. Okay. Yeah. I'll have to check that one out, too. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. That was one we really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got hooked on the Queen's Gambit. Did you all?
Yeah.
We watched, binged that, too.
Yeah, we did that in Bridgerton.
I'd read the book previously, and so I had high expectations, and they were still. Yeah, I still enjoyed it a lot. I love Anya Taylor-Joy, though. I've already liked her and everything I've seen her in.
A really variety of things. I feel like she's got a lot of range, and she was good in that. And nice little Lexington connection with that.
I know. It was great.
To be having a very inappropriate reaction. They're like, your mom was killed on New Circle Road. I'm like, woo!
I know.
Lexington.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Right, exactly. Yeah, both at the same time. Isn't that a good? That means it's a great show, though. If you have those reactions, and then you're kind of, you have the same complex response, emotionally to what's happening. That's awesome. So, okay. Well, thanks for your recommendations. Those are great. And so I'm gonna go try to watch Ted Lasso now. Maybe we can get some ad spots on this show too. We'll see. So
There you go.
Well, have you all found any other kind of bright spots in your quarantine time? I know I've found a few things that I thought, well, I have enjoyed the time at home with family more and stuff. Is there anything that maybe you've found that you kind of want to take forward from this time with you?
Yeah, I think, that sort of that increased connection with people. I mean, even just for us being able to like go to Central again online has been really great. I feel like I'm talking to even like aunts and uncles, more often, like more distant family. And also like, my immediate family. We started doing like a weekly Zoom with a group of friends where, people scattered all over the world we were all just online friends in this Facebook group. And then once this quarantine started, someone was like, well, I live alone and I'm feeling really lonely, so I'm just going to start a Zoom and anyone who wants to can come. And it's turned into, we meet every Sunday night. And it's turned into such a really great group of people who are, friends with people in Australia and England and California, like all over the place, Montana. And so I just like hang out with these people every Sunday night. And I've never met any of them in person, but now we all know each other's faces and, trade little jokes and things. And that's just been a really nice thing that I really want to continue. And I think it will, after the quarantine. It's really nice, form of connection.
Yeah, I've also had kind of more socializing lately in a lot of ways. I've been kind of doing usually like 1 or 2 movies a week with a friend in Kansas and 1 or 2 movies a week with a friend in California, where like we, get in touch and sort of sync up our viewing and start watching at the same time, like while we chat about like what's happening and our reactions to everything. So it, actually feels like you're watching a movie with someone. And that's just been going on for like, basically all of last year. I mean, long for Kansas, but the California thing is pretty new. And that's, that's just been kind of a really fun way to stay connected with people.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. It's amazing how before I may have been like, a Zoom call or a Skype call just doesn't feel real. It's not real connections, but my goodness, it is. And it makes such a big difference. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah, or like on Christmas or the day after Christmas, we did a Zoom with like 30 of my relatives on my dad's side of the family. Like that was so, like this many people never ever actually gets together on Christmas, but we were able to do it because we were all on Zoom. So I got to see like all of them. I got to see my cousin's little 3-week-old baby.
Oh wow!
You know, all of these things that we wouldn't necessarily have even thought to do before. You know, and I feel like there are some things, you know, you see, you know, you do things like that, or I don't know. I was talking to my friend the other day who's a teacher, and she teaches high school, and she was saying that she's never had to tell any of her kids to put on a mask or anything because they're all just so excited to be there and be with their friends and be in school. Like, I don't know, that, you know, that people are finding ways to, like, you know, live through this, and, like, you know, that people are realizing the value of other people. Also, we live like one house away from an elementary school, and it's kind of funny at recess, like we hear all the screaming, and sometimes I'm like, why do they have to scream all the time? But then I'm like, okay, but actually it's really great that these kids are like having this normalcy and like getting to see each other and stuff.
They're the screams of normalcy.
The screams of normalcy. And so I'm like, okay, actually I am really glad that these kids are able to be in school and like be with their friends and stuff.
Oh, that's cool. That's actually a pretty good title for something too, you know, for a book or something. The Screams of Normalcy. If you don't use it, Lauren, I'll use it for a band. So, oh, that's cool. Well, what about family and stuff? How's the rest of your all's family doing? Where they're at?
Well, my family's good. They're in Western Kentucky.
Okay. Yeah.
My family. So even when we were in Lexington, we were still like a 4-hour drive away from them. They're all doing really well. You know, my sister works at my parents are both retired. My sister works at Murray State University, so she's had to get tested and is going in a fair amount. But everybody's been safe there so far. You know, thankfully there haven't been any. You know, haven't been any scares in my family. Everyone's, you know, biggest problem has just been getting a little bored and everything. But they've also all been very lucky about how this has affected them.
Yeah, and most of my family has been, you know, okay too. You know, everyone's kind of in their own little clusters, so, you know, everyone kind of misses seeing each other. You know, I have a couple of, you know, older relatives who are in higher risk categories, so they're being extra careful, which is good. We saw my dad and stepmom back in September. They came down and we just met up at a park. And we all brought lawn chairs and we just sat outside and talked for a couple hours, and it was really nice to see them. But since with the numbers and things, we've mutually decided that we're not going to do that again for a while. But yeah, it's been good. And, you know, I do feel, you know, a couple of my cousins have young children, and I know it's hard for them both with just having fewer options for like what to do with their kids. And also I know that, you know, they're a little worried that like this is an important time for child development, and they're a little worried about their kids, you know, not getting that socialization stuff. But my one cousin, they've gotten a little cluster with their daycare, so her son is able to like play with other kids now, and I think that's really nice for him. Yeah, I think that's kind of it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one thing that I apologize, I missed earlier, we did not get the name of your cats and your dog.
Oh,
that is very important.
So these are kittens we just got in November. And
they're a brother and sister pair.
Yeah, they are litter mates.
Oh, wow.
They were living under a shed in Waterbury, Connecticut with their mom and their litter mates before the group that we got them from was able to trap them.
So there's Boris. He's like tiger striped, gray with black stripes. Yeah. He's also enormous. Yes, he's like the size of a tiger.
he's like, I mean, he's big. Honestly, I think he's bigger than either of our previous cats when they were full grown, and they're only 8 months old now.
Yeah, he's not overweight. He's just big. And then his sister is Boots, because she's all black but with white feet. And she's very, very dainty and kind of the boss of him. Yeah,
it's funny. She's much smaller than him, but she's very much the dominant one of their pair.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then our dog is named Charlie, and he is approximately 13. Yeah, we got him back in Lexington. He had been, he was actually a stray in Louisville, and Oh, I said that like a northerner. Louisville.
It's Louisville.
Yeah, he'd been astray, so he only had like 8 teeth when they found him, and then those all had to be pulled because he hadn't been taken care of.
Yeah.
But he does not let that get him down. I don't think he realizes he doesn't have any teeth because or that he's smaller than our cats because he still has a barrel chest, so he has a big dog bark, and I think that gives him additional confidence.
He's got that little dog, like, I'm actually a big dog.
And he's just the sweetest thing alive.
Yeah. But yeah, so the cats really, especially Boris, really wants to be friends with Charlie. But Charlie, as like an elderly dog, has no interest in being friends with a kitten who just wants to play. So Boris will like try to play with him, and Charlie will just be like, "What are you doing?"
It's kind of sad. Like Boris will start grooming him, and Charlie will tolerate it until like if Boris accidentally like uses his claws or something, and then Charlie will just get up, move a couple feet away, and then lie down.
Yeah, occasionally they take naps together, and that's very cute.
Napping is a very big hobby in our house, so it's nice to see the kittens embracing us.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, that brings some joy to quarantine life too. To have some activity, and the cats are so cute when they're sleeping.
We've never had a pair before, and it's just been a delight to like watch them play with each other and roughhouse and kind of roll around and everything. Mm-hmm. So that's been an additional joy.
Yeah. And that's one thing that's nice for me with having been working from home is that I actually get to watch them all day, and I don't just get reports of, the kittens did this. I get to actually see the kittens do that.
Right. Oh, well, that's awesome. Well, I so appreciate you all taking time out to share with us and to meet with us. It's been so great getting to talk with you all and see how you all are doing. So thanks for doing this. And
thanks for asking us. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we'll be praying for you and thinking about you as you all continue on your journey through this pandemic, and we'll see you in the chat on Sundays too.
Yes,
great. Yeah. Well, that sounds great. Thank you so much, and we'll hopefully get to talk again soon.
Yes, great. Bye.
Okay. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much, Lauren and Susanna. It really was a joy to get to talk with you and to get to see how you're doing. Truly one of the bright spots in our pandemic time together has been to be able to reconnect with folks who are apart from us, like you all. So thanks so much for letting us see a little bit about how things are going with you. Before we go, let's sing a little bit of a song. How about Be Thou My Vision? Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. High King of heaven, my victory won, may I reach heaven's joys, O bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, O ruler of all. Thanks again so much for being with us this evening. We'll be back here on YouTube again this Sunday for worship as we celebrate communion together. So you can grab your saltines and your Diet Coke or whatever else you have laying around and join us as we share a feast together that may be socially distanced or physically distanced, but close-knit in God's spirit of love. So we hope you can join us again this Sunday for that. Tomorrow, the baby boomers will be meeting. You can find out more about that and more about other groups meeting as well. If you go to our website, lexcentral.com, you'll see links on the front of the page to our Zoom groups as well as to other things like our newsletter, where you can sign up for our newsletter there and you can get weekly updates about things that are happening with links to our Zoom meetings and all those kind of things as well. So we hope that you'll do that so that you can stay in touch. And we hope to see you again on Sunday where we can worship together and celebrate communion. Thanks again for being here this evening. Go in peace.